Everybody, do me a favor, hit the like button, tap, tap, tap that like button. Do me a favor, everybody type in the chat these 4 letters, JBTP, for Jack, Boot, Thug, Pig. Jack, Boot, Thug, Pig. What is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing tonight? And now I'm going to show you guys just a tiny little clip of this video, because I want you guys to, this is a tiny catcher-upper. Most people here have already seen this video. Most people here. We talked about this the other day. You remember I interviewed this cop named Adam Hanna. Do you remember Adam Hanna? So I'm just going to show anybody who was here. Put a 1 in the chat if you were here the other night when I showed you guys that I ran into a cop in Denver, Colorado. And of course, I went up and I spoke with him. How many people were in the room? Put a 1 in the chat if you were in the room, because there's like 450 people here or something like that. So, okay. So I'm just going to show you guys just a real tiny bit of this video. Real tiny bit. I'm talking like a minute, 2 minutes. And then I'm going to show you the follow-up of the DA's office calling me and trying to see if I'm a suspect in the fraud he's committing, right? Because when you listen to the tape of the DA's office calling me, who were trying to get his peace officer standards and training certificate stripped from him because he was under investigation. This guy completely snowed me. He put on a good face, a good front, and he was totally a scumbag. He lost his peace officer's license, and he's no longer a cop in Colorado. So if he went and got a new peace officer's license in another state, I don't know about that. But this guy totally snowed me. You can fool me anytime. I want to believe in you. I want to believe people are good. And so I'm going to show you guys just a couple minutes of this at the most, because a lot of people here already saw this. And then I'm going to show you the district attorney's detective who called me and asked me what my relationship with Adam Hanna was.
And he's in an all black car with black tinted windows, sitting in a parking lot. And when people drive by and they see a cop here, they're afraid of him. And he just doesn't see it.
Let me see your tap, man.
Bam. Oh, glory. Oh, you got a stripe on it, though.
Thin blue line.
You have the thin blue line stripe. Can I see that one more time? He's got a thin, can you guys, I want to make sure these guys can see it. That's a thin blue line stripe.
Oh, so.
He puts on a blue stripe on his arm. Do you know how much we hate it?
How much you hate the thin blue line?
Hate it. It immediately incenses me. The disconnect is he doesn't see. He's wearing all black. He's dressed like G.I. Joe, dark blue. Guys, the stripe divides us. The people, for me even continuing the conversation and being cordial with you and giving you a fist bump, the people who watch my channel are going to go, what WTF, Chille? You gave a fist bump to a guy with a blue stripe.
So just so you know, this guy totally fools me. I'll show you guys just a blip of this more. He totally, completely, and utterly fools me. And I walk up and start a conversation with this guy.
Gotcha, number
2204.
Hey, dude, how you doing? So, my name's Chille. I have a channel called Delete Lawz. I'm not running live right now or anything, but when I see police officers and they're pulled to the side of the road, I often just want to ask them, let me come on. So there's the rest of the car.
Well, I often will touch the public property because that's our property. And so I treat it like it's my property.
It's like Morrison, town of Morrison. Hey. Nice to meet you, Chille. So now when you're a cop, right? You're a police officer. So what do you think is the perception of you when you sit here in a car? Do you think when people drive by, what are their feelings? You think that they feel safer when they see you here? Because your car's all black tinted windows. By the way, that's a cool, that's cool. But what do you think the perception of the general public is?
I hope the perception of the general public is that we're here to help them.
Okay. So let's pause right there. So now I continue down a rabbit hole with Adam Hanna. He puts on a really good face. I mean, if he's interviewing for a job, he nails it. He absolutely nails it. And so no spoiler alert here. This is all out in the open. Adam Hanna used to be an assistant chief, and then he got demoted, and now he's on a deal right now where he's down as the lowest rung. He's an officer for the Morrison Police Department because he's about to lose his peace officer's badge. Now, his peace officer's license, it allows him to have a badge. And so it just so happened randomly that I ran to this piggy. And after I left him, he shined me on and he put on a great face. If you guys haven't seen this video, let me drop the link down here so you can see the whole thing. This guy, read the comments. He comes off like, there it is. And put that on the real comments on the YouTube channel, if you would, DLZ clips. And he comes off like a real champ. People even say, see, Chille, there's good cops out there. See, there's good cops up there. So here's the follow-up phone call with the district attorney's office, who believes now that I have somehow plotted and planned with Adam Hanna to make him look good on camera. Put a 1 in the chat if you think that's the most preposterous thing you've ever heard in your life. Are you out of your freaking mind? You think, and I knew right away when he called that he thought that, you know, I had somehow, and I was like, okay, but that's fine. Now here's the conversation I had with with the district attorney's detective.
Well, I mean, like pretty much anytime a cop starts telling me that they're good, then I just automatically go, I don't know how much I believe that. I just don't know. I just don't really believe it a lot, to be honest, because most of the time you find out that they're not good. So, I mean, I in 2022, I was extending a ray of hope. 2023, I've extinguished that hope. I mean, it's a terrible, horrible, disgusting system. And it's once, read the Mullen Commission. Once you're wrapped up in it, you get stuck in this Death Star of evil. And if you don't toe the line, they kill you, they kill your family, they ruin your career, and there's too many of them. There's too many of them. So it's unbelievable to me that a cop's even calling me to investigate another cop. That's unbelievable to me. Never have I in my life think that a cop would call me to investigate another cop.
Well, do you have any questions about that? I mean, hopefully I've been fairly clear on why I'm doing that.
No, I mean, I think you've been, if he's a bad copper, I hope he actually gets in trouble, but they hardly ever do. I mean, and by the way,
well, he was already in trouble. And then, like I said, his certification for the state of Colorado was being revoked. There's a process to that. And then in between the hearings for that process, your video was shot and published. Well, I don't know when it was shot, but it was published in between that process.
Pretty quickly.
And
I put it out 2 or 3 days later.
Okay.
I mean, I shot it with him, and then I edited the next day. It was out within 48 hours, I think.
Okay. And then, like I said, his attorney was using that and telling the post board, hey, watch this video. The comments are very positive. And this was an overall good interaction with somebody who's typically pretty hostile to law enforcement, and yet this went really well. You should consider not revoking his certification. And I'm summarizing. That it looks a little suspicious on this end of things.
So this is a cop who has now just called me and told me that it looks suspicious on his end of things, something that I was involved in. So because it's so ridiculously preposterous beyond the pale, and there would have to be some sort of collusion that these cops could prove between me and the jackboot thug pig who eventually got fired from being a pig. So I find this humorous, actually, and so now I want to really shine him.
That you just happen to find Adam Hanna when it looks like you kind of travel all across the country.
Oh yeah, I travel all across the country. I go from coast to coast. I'm on a mission to show that the law enforcement system will never work. We have to go to a peace officers association, and we have to decentralize and get rid of all these stupid rankings, and then it would actually work. But as long as you have one person who's in charge of another one in peace officers, then you're going to have corruption. So that's
I just want to be clear. There was nothing particular that brought you to Colorado or specifically to talk with Mr. Hanna?
No, it was actually completely random. Dude got so lucky.
that I happened to walk up, and now the board is saying, hey, watch this video. Here's an example of a good cop, and what they're saying about him isn't true. Look at the good interaction he had with somebody who hates cops. That's what the
the board didn't say that. The board is the one who's making the decision to revoke his certification. His attorney, his defense attorney, brought it to the attention of the board and said, you should watch this video.
Watch my video with a copper because people like the copper.
On how good this interaction went and, you know, how he handled himself with this guy who's fairly aggressive with law enforcement. So you can understand how that appears suspicious, the timing of that, because it was in between these different hearings.
Well, I mean, the only time I would help a pig is if they were being attacked and their life was in jeopardy. If I'm for law and order all the way. I'm not a sovereign citizen at all. I'm for Jean-Jacques Rousseau's social contract. So now let me explain that real quick. A sovereign citizen is someone who believes that they're free and that they make all their own decisions at their own will. I don't agree with that. I think that people have to live. The rule of law should uphold society. Because if it's 15 miles an hour through this neighborhood and there's a bunch of little kids playing outside, a sovereign citizen could say, I don't live by those rules of the speed limit. So that's what I mean by that. Of course, you are sovereign. You should be in charge of your own being and your well-being and those things. But the rule of law makes it so that it's 15 through that neighborhood because there's 4-year-old kids that often run out in the street. Sovereign citizen means that I don't live by any rules but my own. I have my own will. And other people are going to have all these things to say about what I just said, but that's the reason why I'm for rule of law. If you haven't read Thomas Hobbes and you don't understand his philosophy on the natural man, then you should read that. I've read it several times. So I'm for law and order all the way. I'm not a sovereign citizen at all. I'm for Jean-Jacques Rousseau's social contract. I've read it several times. So I'm for that. So the only way I would help a pig is if they were being attacked, and I'm not for violence. So I would stop that attack. But other than that, I would not help a pig. So if this video that I made with Adam Hanna helped him, it was not to help him. I did not know the man. We had never met previously. I walked away from the encounter, and a lot of my audience we were optimistic that there's actually a good pig in the world. He was acting like on a first date. But there's, now, I mean, this phone call, just so you know, just further indentures me into the camp that there are no good cops. It just puts me right back into that.
That's unfortunate. I mean, I can't change the facts of this situation. They are what they are, but yeah, it is, I guess there's some double irony there, and that's unfortunate.
Well, there's triple irony, quadruple irony, because I don't just walk up to, I randomly walked up to a dude on the side of the road. I happened to be in that part of town in Denver where I'm not from, where I was at a fight camp. Now, let me give you guys a little backlog just so you know where I was. I have no idea where I was. I have no clue where I was. I was in Denver, and I was just in some random place. And I often, when I go to a new town, I will go drive around at midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning to see if a cop will pull me over just because I'm out driving. So I was just out driving in Denver, and I saw a cop sitting in a gas station parking lot in the corner of the parking lot. The pumps are here, the store is here. And so I thought, he's sitting there and he doesn't realize that now nobody wants to go to that particular gas station to train to fight a different pig. But that pig, my blood pressure went crazy because they stole my van. I got a whole troop of pigs on a channel to stalk me, and half of them are cops or ex-cops. So it's. But
you had never had any prior interaction with Hannah, and you walked into a random cop car and he was in it.
Yes, believe it or not, yes. Dude, listen. I'm on the record here, man. I hate cops. Okay, I wouldn't do anything to help out Adam Hanna. I don't know the dude. I met him for literally 20 minutes of my lifetime. Never had spoken to him previously. Never had any interaction with him previously. He put on a good show, dude. A lot of people believed him on my channel and said, oh, see, there are good cops. And the whole time the dude's under indictment. So
Well, he wasn't under indictment. He had a felony case while he was a cop, and he took a diversion for that.
There's diversion for cop felony cases where they then go back out onto the street and they're a cop.
And the post board, that's who certifies peace officers in our state. And the post board. The post board. So Adam Hanna may have had his certificate pulled in Colorado, but that doesn't mean he can't get a certificate in another state. Post, Peace Officer Standards and Training. And in some places it's called CLEAT, and in some places probably called something different. But from what I know, they all have this basic thing, Peace Officer Standards and Training. And they all graduate and sign a Peace Officer certificate and then magically become a law enforcer as soon as they graduate and they get a badge and a gun. Then they're an enforcer. But before that, they train to be a peace officer. That's who certifies peace officers in our state. There's statutory requirements that they have to revoke his certification based on that other case. And so he was in the middle of that process, yeah.
So he's not a cop anymore?
No. Well, in Colorado, his certification is revoked in Colorado. What he's doing, I'm not positive.
Well, you're a copper. Why don't you guys get rid of this whole law enforcement garbage? I mean, that's what puts a divide between us, and it changes the mentality. Instead of going to protect and serve, you're going to law enforce. And I get it, you're an internal affairs cop, but dude, the whole law enforcement stick.
I'm not internal affairs. I just want to make sure you understand why I'm calling. I'm an investigator. I'm a detective. I work for a district attorney's office, but we are investigating this matter because it appears he was attempting to influence our post board, which is a felony.
So then if they believe that he made a video that he was attempting to sway the post board, then someone has to make the video with him. And so everything I thought from the beginning is now starting to show that, but this gives me a solid 10, 15 minutes to just let him know the truth.
So it's not—
they're investigating me is what I'm telling you. And I know that, but I know there's also no records. It's just simply not possible. I'm not even in Denver. I don't live there. I'm never there. I don't know what this tard is.
Like I just investigate officers, or
it's not like it's not like I just investigate officers. I'm investigating you now. This phone call is an investigation of you. Every time you talk to anybody who works for the government, they're investigating you.
It appears he was attempting to influence our post board, which is a felony. So it's not like I just investigate officers or.
Oh, you work for the DA's office.
I work for a district attorney's office, yeah. And because the post board would be a victim, they recuse themselves. They're not doing their own investigation, and they reached out to our agency to do the investigation.
Can I ask you a question kind of off topic?
Well, I got to stay on topic. You're an interesting guy. Maybe when I'm on my own.
This dude, though, thought that I would be in collusion with a pig to help him look good to keep his pig badge. Put a 1 in the chat if that is the most preposterous thing you could possibly imagine. I could vomit right now. Apparently, he did lose his pig badge anyway, but Aurora, Colorado, Jeff Chostner watched the murder of Richard Ward on video and then said it was a justified murder. But the video, no matter what your policies are, videos show a guy open another guy's car door, attack him, and then murder him. That's what we saw on video. I don't care if the guy was wearing a badge or not. How do we get that grand jury how do we get a grand jury to convene for Charles Warder, who murdered Jeff Ward? Murdered him in that junior high school. You know what I'm talking about. How do we?
Well, again, if
you guys remember that when the guy was going to pick up his little brother, and then he went to get into the wrong white SUV, and he went to open the door, and the lady it was the wrong one, and so she called the cops, and he went and got in the RV, the little white mini SUV with his mother. And then the cop came over, drug him out of the car, and shot him. Remember that? I'm asking this guy who's a detective for a district attorney how and what the process is to get a grand jury convened when we see a murder on camera. But now Jeff Costner, I think it's Chostner, Jeff Costner in Denver, can just decide that we didn't see a murder.
I was on my own time. I could probably have an interesting conversation with you, but
Brother, leave the dark ship. Join
work
us.
time. So I had a quick follow-up conversation or a question for you real quick. You said you had a positive reaction among your viewers to Hannah. Did you receive, feedback from your viewers about him?
Yeah, of course. You can go in the comment section and read what the people said about him. He was okay. I mean, look, it's just like anything else. You go talk to a used car salesman and they tell you how great the car is and they're the nicest guy in the world. You drive the car home and it's a piece of junk. So that's how I see most of my interactions. These are the best cops in the world while I'm here with the camera. And as soon as the camera goes away, they're the regular people they are. So yeah, but my viewers said,
put a 1 in the chat if that's 100% true, that they are completely and utterly fake until they're off camera.
Positive things about him.
I'm hot.
Because he put on a good show and said how he was a good dude and he didn't believe in all, he seemed malleable, that he would be willing to learn, but he was the guy who had the blue stripe tattoo down his arm. I remember that.
That's right.
Yeah. And
that's right.
He was going to change it to Old Glory. And I considered doing a fundraiser to change it, but I don't know how much my audience would want to put in money to give a pig a new tattoo.
Yeah,
put a 1 in the chat if you would revolt. Put a 1 in the chat if I would need to get my head checked. I was trying. You guys know I was trying to.
That's true. Okay, so the extent of the feedback would be on the YouTube channel if I just kind of trolled the comments there.
Yeah, and remember, okay. People only know what I presented. It was a much longer conversation where Adam portrayed himself in a much more positive light, and I just thought to myself, this just too good to be true. I haven't met a pig like this in my whole life. That's good. They're just all, the Mullen Commission, the Wickersham, the Knapp, they all teach us that cops believe in a little bit of violence. They believe in violence. They're for it. They're pro-violence. So to hear someone say something different was different,
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your candor about that.
Yeah.
That pretty much sums up what I was trying to understand from you. I think you can appreciate why I need to ask these investigative questions.
If they thought I had anything to do with Adam Hanna, they would have subpoenaed my phone records. They would have subpoenaed my email. They would have got it, and they would have. So when the government calls you, if they work for a district attorney's office or a police department, they're investigating you. So you should stay very tight-lipped, very tight-lipped. I'm a freedom fighter. I've been to jail a couple times last 2 years. This is what I do. If the government calls you, you should not open up like a book like I did. I knew when he tells me he's a detective for the district attorney's office, no, I'm under investigation. So now what's he investigating? Oh, he tells me he's involved, that he thinks I'm involved with Adam Hanna. Now this is laughable and provable that I'm not involved with some jackboot thug pig trying to keep his pig badge.
Do you have a on-topic related question?
How do we get a grand jury convened for the murder of Richard? I said Jeff Ward.
That's a big question.
Come on, dude.
I can't take that one on.
Dude, you work for the DA's office. Do not be come on, man. Don't further erode my trust in anybody who calls themselves a cop. You saw the video. He's murdered the dude, man. Charles Warder murdered Richard Ward. And Jeff Costner can just say, oh, it's justified, when we can see a video, bro. We could see a video.
If I would have a lot more, my answer would take on a lot more meaning if that was in our judicial district. I don't have any jurisdiction there, so
isn't it right down the street? It's a block away, right?
No, so I'm not in. That's Grand Junction. It's on the other side of the state.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So the reason I have jurisdiction over this matter is a little bit more complicated.
Well, dude, I'm not asking you to throw your.
Well, it probably has to do with that I'm part of the investigation and I'm not from that county. So
professionalism into it. I'm saying, you know, on a random conversation, I asked you this question: how do I get a grand jury convened for Charles McWhorter? How do we convene a grand jury to look at that video?
There's a mechanism to convene a grand jury, but that would
it's MCWHOTER, McWhorter. MC, look it up. McWhorter killed in Colorado, or
be up to the DA's office in that jurisdiction.
Yeah, and Jeff Chostner said he's not going to convene a grand jury. What do we do? Go after him to impeach him?
I mean, DAs are elected officials, so
you've seen the video, haven't you?
I'm not positive what you're talking about. I mean, I may have seen it, but I'm not putting names or anything. Chille, you've been super helpful. Thank you for cooperative, and I appreciate you taking my call.
All right, brother.
Do you need my name? Do you need my email? Do you need some way to follow up with me?
We're gonna cut there. I'm not gonna blow him up. I'm not gonna blow him up. So, wow, so Adam Hanna. If you guys have not seen the full Adam Hanna video, let's pop over to that real quick. I'll just throw it up and let's just take a look at some of the comments that this guy completely and utterly did a snow job. He fooled everybody. He fooled everybody watching. He fooled me in person because, you know, well, it's easy to fool me. I want to believe that you're good. So let's just take a look at some of the comments that this guy generated. You know, that thin blue line should be outlawed for all law enforcement citizens. It's not okay. The cop impresses the hell out of me. That's the kind of cop I grew up respecting. He was he had a felony against him for what he did to somebody. I really like this cop. This seems like one of the good cops. When you get one cop that speaks out against tyranny, bro, that literally brought a tear to my eye. Gave me goosebumps. What a great guy. What an amazing enforcer. We need more guys like Adam Hanna. Haters will hate and talk about this video. One of the best videos on YouTube. Always God bless. Kudos. Good conversation. I mean, nice cop. I mean, look at what he did. I will drop this video down in the comment section for you guys. So you guys can follow it. You can watch it if you want to watch it. But he lied. So what I'll do now is I'll put that video together and I'll just put the audio and I'll just put in the beginning, wait for the audio at the end, and it'll be like a 45-minute video. But people should absolutely see it and hear it, that this guy. So every time you guys see someone and you go, oh, that's a good cop, I want to remind you of Adam Hanna. Every time you guys see people say to me, why are you so mean? How do you know if he's a good cop or a bad cop? I don't. I know he joined an evil Death Star. I know that he enforces policies and procedures that are cruel and inhumane, that hurt people, that ruin people's lives, and he's a part of that. So I have no idea. I'm going to go with, though, that he is evil. I'm going to start with that, and then let's work backwards from there. Because I'm not going to walk in to some guy dressed up like G.I. Joe Looser and not believe that he's evil. I think he is. I don't know if he is. It's the old, what's the old adage? What is it? It's I'm going to give you a jar of M&Ms, 100 M&Ms, and only 10 are poisonous. Here. How many of those M&Ms are you going to eat? How many are you going to have? There's only 10 that are going to kill you. Put a 1 in the chat right now if you would not have a single M&M. I treat all the cops like they're that poisonous M&M because they joined poison M&Ms. That's what they joined. They joined a Death Star. They joined where taking people to the office is taking them to a dungeon. They joined that. They signed up to do that.